Okay, back at the boat. Took a week off, visited family. Now we're back at it. And I have the tachometer working. It was simply a bad connection in the NEMA 2000 system. Probably most of you know better than me, but this is all new to me. This engine is controlled by a computer, and there's two wires or cables that go up to the front. And one is the NEMA 2000, which is just information. The other cable goes to the controller up here. Now the controller does not control the motor. The computer controls the motor. So the controller simply asks the computer in the engine if it's okay to go in forward, or is it okay to go in reverse, or is it okay to give it throttle, and all of the other things. It's simply asking the computer. The computer controls the engine, and all the information is sent with the NEMA 2000 cable, and they're separated up probably for safety concerns. And the NEMA 2000 is just a data system, and it sends information to the TAC. So I got it working. I haven't had time to put it on the water and try anything with it, but I will soon. But today I want to bend some pipes to make some guides to make it easier to get the boat off and on the trailer. It's a fairly long trailer. You got to get it fairly deep in the water before the boat floats off, and then you can't see it. So when you try to get the boat back on the trailer, you really don't know where it is. So I'm going to put some pipe guides, get set up for them. Won't have to weld. I just need to go buy the pipe and the U-bolts, and I got like 8 different size pipes back there, but none of them are correct. So I'm gonna run to Home Depot and get a couple sticks of galvanized pipe and some U-bolts, and I'm gonna do this first, and then I'm gonna play with some math and see some rough estimates on getting the boat balanced better, getting some weight off the back onto the front. So I end up having enough pipe to do one, and bought a pipe to do the other one. But this is the only U-bolts I could find in town, and they're kind of wussy. I wanted something a little more manly. I have these. I have a lot of these. These are stainless steel. Actually 3/16 stainless steel. So I'm going to see if I can't cut these up and weld them and make them suitable for clamping down this pipe, because I don't really want to use these little cadmium plated junky bolts. So I can just cut them in half and scoot them in and get the width right, but then they're going to be way too long. These are borderline too long. So I really need the thread to be about here. I really need the thread to be about here. So maybe we can curve them around. I don't have any acetylene, so I can't use the torch to heat them up. But I could heat them up with the TIG torch. Let's go, maybe I'll try to bend it cold and see what happens. If I slide this in here just past the threads, happen to have a hole the right size. Got a bend. So I found it pretty much impossible to hold the two pieces in place to weld them. So I made this little jig. It's just a piece of steel. I've got 2 holes drilled, and there is accurately as I can the right spacing to match the trailer. And then I double nut the 2 halves, and I'll just have them overlapped. I'm not trying to butt them. And I'll put a little weld here, and while it's red hot, I'll bend them a little more and put some more weld, and then I'll cut off the excess. And I'm gonna go make sure that it works. If it does, I'll do 3 more. Okay, that was a really easy weld, and when it's really hot, after I do the first little tack, I take the hammer and just tap it around and put a little more weld, and I'm gonna let it cool off. We're gonna go make sure it fits the trailer, and I think it should, and we'll make 3 more. So the first homemade U-bolt is in place and it fits fine. On the rest of them, I was a little more careful to bend a curve instead of just trying to bend it over. I kept moving it in the hole, so you see it fits a little better. I'll have to do less bending when I weld it, so I can go ahead and get a lot of weld on this one, and I just need to bend this one a little bitty bit. That one came out much better than the first one, but the first one's still going to do fine. This is my little Harbor Freight
pipe bender I bought to make the T-top with, and the T-top was aluminum pipe and this is galvanized steel. So it's a little tougher to bend, but it bends it fine. Just got to keep pushing on that jack. And I had to move it 2 or 3 times because it won't bend to 90, you know, obviously. And I needed just under a 90, but came out great. My bends on the other one don't match exactly, but you know, there's no way you can really tell one side from the other.
Okay, so I got a good bend that works. It took 4 tries. That's okay. And I got my new piece of pipe. I got it marked where I need to cut it, and I have it marked where I need to center the bend because I marked the other one before I bent it. So hopefully they'll match up. We're going to chop it to length and put it in the bender and try to match this curve again. So I got 2 matching bends. I overbent the second one, which was a problem. But by putting the pipe through a hole in my workbench and standing on it, I was able to unbend it and get them to match a little bit. The length's not perfect because this one, the bend started at a different place, but I don't think you'll be able to tell an inch from one side of the boat to the other. So now I got to see if I can fish them into place with the U-bolts. It's a very tight fit. There's not much room in there to get anything to happen.
So the back U-bolt is put on the pipe and wiggled the pipe in there and got the U-bolt through the little hole. It's pretty tricky because you can't get your fingers in there. The front U-bolt you can reach. Anyway, I got both of them. I did it with the pipe laying down. It was a lot easier. And now I'm trying to wiggle it to get the clearance and then tighten down on the U-bolts. And I can tighten them pretty dang tight because I don't think I'm going to hurt this pipe any. And I'm not going to break those U-bolts because they're very manly.
So this little project is done. It's a friction fit with the U-bolts, so theoretically, if I clobber something like really hard, the vertical pipe is free to roll, to move a little bit. I guess that's good. And this one is a little tighter next to the boat than the other side. I think if I get the boat that close, it's going to be on the bunks. I mean, because when I was trying to load it last time, I was 3 feet off to the side because I just couldn't see the trailer. So now at least I'll be able to see the trailer. So we're going to call that good. Happy with this. So today is the day I'm going to glue my top down. First I'm going to through drill 2 holes in each front corner for through bolts. And then I'm going to remove almost all the rest of the screws so I can pick it up just maybe 3/8 of an inch or so. Apply some caulk sealant, it's similar to 3M 4200, and then put all the screws back with each one with a little blob of caulk on it. And I have some solvent, I got some rags, I'm going to try to clean up my mess. That's what we're going to try to do. Very hot in the sun. Okay, we got all the screws out, and I got 4 of these front holes drilled all the way through to put a nut on the bottom, or I'm going to put the bolt head on the bottom, put the nut on the top. And I got it wedged up a little bit all the way around, and it can't move because these 4 bolts are keeping it from moving, which is good. I don't have to worry about trying to line it up again. So I think I'm going to caulk this top because I can see the bolt holes, so I can kind of tell where to caulk. I think I'll do like a front half and then get it screwed down and clean up that mess because it is super hot out here right now and I'm in a direct sunlight, and I think if I try to do it all, the caulk's gonna set on me. So I may even just do the front third, caulk it, bolt it down, clean up, and then do the sides and then do the back. Okay, it's done. I got 4 through bolts with fender washers and nuts on top. Of course, they're not stainless nuts because I forgot to bring them. I'll have to swap them out. And I got Pookie on all the screws to kind of make it dielectric and to keep them from vibrating out. And I got a good bead of caulk around the outside, and I ran out of caulk, so I had to get another tube. And I'll do a filler pass on the inside. It's just for aesthetics, make it easier to clean, make it look better. But, super happy. I don't think the top's coming off, no matter how fast I drive the truck. And I didn't film anything because it is a bajillion and 10 degrees out here, and I'm struggling just to concentrate. And I didn't want to have to deal with the caulk was already skinning over. I didn't want to waste any more time. So I'm going to go get out of the sun for a minute and drink some water. Okay, we're going to make a change in my boat, and it's a big change. And it's been coming for a long time. Since the first time I put the motor on this bracket, it just didn't look right to me. Structurally, it just sticks out too far, and the footprint of the bolt pattern is too small, and I've been like toying with it. Just hasn't set well with me. And then when I put it in the water and the back floated too low, that kind of added to it. You know, the further it sticks out in the back, the deeper the back of the boat's going to float. And then what kind of set it off is I got a little crack in the gel coat right here. You know, I didn't use gel coat, I used epoxy, but that just means something's moving, shaking. Just probably going overboard here, but I don't care. It's my boat, and it's summertime, and we don't usually use the boat in the summer because it's too freaking hot. So now's the time to do it. I'm going to take the motor off. I'm going to take the bracket off. I'm going to shorten it 5 inches because right now the motor is more or less out of the water, or the tilt position would keep the motor out of the water. I got a straight edge here. I got 5 inches. I can move it forward without impeding getting the motor out the water. That will reduce the torque on this motor pod, motor mount. And then I'm going to do away with my wooden deals, and I'm going to weld aluminum. Just make this structure all the way solid from one side of the boat to the other. And then I'm probably going to weld a little aluminum pod on the bottom just for flotation out of some thin aluminum, just enough to keep the water out. So, big change. I didn't make the decision lightly. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the engine, get it hanging from my hoist, and take off the wooden steps and take off the aluminum pod and cut it shorter and put it back together a little differently than it is now.